All right, this is for all the people that have the abusive, over-controlling parents. So in the hero's journey, there's the death of the father, right? That's a very important part of the stage where you got to break. It's early on in the hero's journey where you got to break from the grip of the parents, the father, also the mother, whatever, right? There's a distinction of like you got to let go, you got to break ties with your old childhood, your parents, etc., and therefore you got to move forward with your new spouse, your new life, etc. So there's a big divide. And what's been weird for me, just being kind of an older person, I guess, like for whatever reason, I guess this is like FI. Like, yeah, my values are you got to break away from the parents. Like that's what my grandparents taught. That's the way my parents were. My parents were like, you do know, Dave, at 18, you're getting the hell out of here. I'm like, well, where am I going? They're like, I don't know, you're not living here. And they stood by it. They're like, unless you're going to college, you can't live here. And so I did 1 year at a junior college. I'm like, I can't take it anymore. And then just fucking took off to LA, lived in a fucking friend's car, like, and then started my life from there. Just went through a whole bunch of horrible hell in fucking LA, especially the first couple of years, trying to figure out how to do life, you know, not having any money, working at a car repair place. I remember my rent was like $450 and I was making $475 a month, right? And I started stealing food from the college, right? Off on the adventure land I went, right? But my parents, as horrible as I thought they were at the time, looking back, I'm like, oh, my parents weren't so bad. Your parents are so bad. That's what I started to realize. My parents are pretty good on a curve. Compared to everybody else's parents, they're fucking psycho. I do see the reverse of that. As much pain as that's caused over the years, it's done me far good. But like I see people that have been pulled into that trap where their parents are like, yeah, come live here. Yeah, you know, things aren't working out. Why don't you come back? It's like, I'm 27. What do you mean? Yeah, you know, your room is still available. Like the parents, like a fucking evil witch with like Halloween candy, like are like kidnappers. They're like enticing their kids back. But the parents, right? And you see this, like if it's not your parents, it's your fucking friend's parents. They're so fucking dysfunctional that they're full of need. They don't have any friends. They can't get any. So their kid is like, well, I own you. And then you get this kind of like molester factor where they're like, well, I can't have a friend, so I'm going to just toxically grab onto what I have here. So this is not uncommon, and it is happening more and more, even though I didn't see this when I was a kid. But I'm definitely seeing this a lot. And then talking to young people, that this is just kind of normal life for a lot of them, right? So this girl, what is her name? Jennette Mccurdy, something like that. And so I don't know much about her. I didn't follow any of her shows. I think she did like Nickelodeon shit like that. So, you know, I never watched her growing up. But she is the same type as a good friend of ours, of Shani and I's. So we know this type really well. And we know how hard it is for this type as a TENE, blast lass, to be able to stand up for herself. And so what's going to be hard for this type, a TENE, blast lass, is control. And so if she has a mom, which she did, her mom's died, and she wrote a book like, yay, my mom is dead, something like that, where she's finally able to get free, right? Like how's that? How's fucking that? Like writes a book after her mom's dead saying, yay, my mom's dead, because she finally got free, like the hero's journey. Like the universe gave her a freebie and said, here, I'll help you out. I'll leave and cleave. I'll help you separate from your mom. She fucking died. And Jennette's like, yay. And it did her really, really, like how scary? How scary that you're trapped in life and you're like, God, I just wish this person would die and then I could go free. Like, you really got to think about that if things were that bad. I think she's about 30 now, but what she did, she was young and her mom was pushing her into doing the shows and the TV and all that stuff because the mom was then making the money from her. There you go. There's some fucking demon masculine FI, right? You see it? So her mom is pushing for do the child star thing because she's going to do the money, and the mom just got real controlling and real abusive. I will save you all the details. You can look into it yourself. But Jennette here had a really fucking hard time growing up. And the point I'm saying is, like, also hitting her right in the demons, right? So we're calling it kind of like the Britney Spears effect, right? Where you have Britney Spears is an ESFP that actually was controlled by the tribe. Like, your worst demons actually fucking happen. And it does happen 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of a million times, or sometime in your life, you're going to be the idiot crying wolf, the canary in the coal mine, like you are all fucking day with your endless goddamn drama. And then 1 out of a million times, you're actually going to be fucking right. And that was a big case here where like she literally FI demons had a very controlling, narcissistic person in her life, her mom, that literally was abusive right in her demons. So it's like Jennette, like as a normal one of these types, should be saying the usual racket of, my mom is so abusive and controlling. Like everybody of this type or similar type is saying the same rack of shit. And you go to get to know their mom, you're like, your mom's just an idiot. You know what right? Crying wolf, right? But this is actually happening. So that's a really, really big deal. And you can see it on Jennette's face. When you watch her in the videos, you see that that soldier, what do they call it, 1,000 yard stare. You see that like Like, been to death, been to hell, been there, and it just owns hell. Like, I love that part of the hero's journey where it's like, you're Batman in the cave, and you're like, you know what if I made my house in hell? Now what, right? What if I own these demons, David Goggins style, right? And she's got masculine FI down there, so it's like, now what? What if your worst fear is where you're now comfortable?
You say, quite frankly, that this was never your dream. Stardom was never your dream. Whose dream was it?
My mom's. I think she wanted me to have a better life than she had, but I also think her approach was very unhealthy and informed by her own lack of self-work. And she lived vicariously through me.
In many ways, your mother tried to keep you a child.
Yeah, I think my mom wanted to keep me as controllable as possible. I think she really wanted to have her influence on me, and me growing up was a threat to that.
So that is everything Jennette's type says, by the way. But this actually is true. Like researching what her mom was like, what her mom did, it's actually true. Now, it happens to be Jennette's demons, but it is actually fucking true.
It would take Jennette years to seek proper help and start therapy to begin grappling with her trauma.
I couldn't initially accept the idea that my mother was abusive toward me because my whole way of life, my whole way of going through the world I was operating through this lens of my mom wants what's best for me. Even after she died, I'm nothing without my mom. I can't do anything without my mom. I'm incapable. I'm incompetent. What would mom want? What would mom think? What does mom need? That accepting that she was abusive would have meant reframing my entire life. And that felt impossible. I couldn't go near that for a long time.
A long time, right? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing the hero's journey? Like, this is just an extreme example. And it's great if you have an extreme example in your life. You're just going to get through it faster if you don't fuck it up. If you don't fucking die in the process. You're going to get through it faster if it's more extreme. The worst place, just like the Bible talks about, is that lukewarm position. Oh, man, you don't want to get caught in that. You either want to go through fucking hell so you get shoved out the other side, or you want to fucking just get to the other fucking side and go through hell. There's really only one option. Like, you don't want to get caught in this, like, yeah, life's not too bad. Okay, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50. Oh, wait, right? So she was blessed with, this is what I tell kids that I talk to. They're like, 26 going through hell. I'm like, fucking better now than when you're fucking 40, believe me. So, like, she had to get forced through it. What she was afraid of, which I see everybody afraid of, and I'm starting to see people with the social types and stuff, I'm seeing people, like, kind of dial down on their arguing. Oh, type and this and that. It feels like the social types for a lot of people, finally, they're like, okay, I'm caught. I'm finally seen. I can see myself. Everybody else can see me. And they're like, all right, I'm going to stop the arguing. I got to go work on me. I'm like, fucking finally. Thank you. Fucking thank you. Because people are like, okay, I've been trying all of these different backflips to keep my current worldview that I was born with, my functions, my type. She's talking about, like, what does my mom want? What's my mom want? So her mom is creating this abusive relationship. Plus, Jennette's functions are, like, encouraging that or accepting that or believing that shit is real, And so just really, really trapped in it. And so Jennette's going like, I don't want to acknowledge that my whole way of being, my whole identity, my personal identity, my identity with my mom, all of this is fucked up. I'd have to redo hero's journey. Yes, you'd have to redo everything. Like, why do they talk about the death, rebirth, time in the prison? Remember Jamie Lee Curtis with her masculine sensory where she's like had the time. She's like exactly this time to this time. It's like, that's a normal thing of like, okay, this was the time. Same with Jennette here. This was the time when I had the breakdown, I was gone for Wes Watson 2, 3, 4, 5 years, where I had to have that separation and death between the two worldviews. So it's a huge, huge, huge fucking deal. Now, the pain is you got to take a couple of years off the record to just fucking go into the Batcave and deal with your shit. You got to be gone for a while, right? A year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years is usually what we see, right? It's usually that. But the alternative is if you don't do that, you're like everybody else where that dark window of, say, 3 years where you're off the planet, like dealing with your shit and redoing your worldview, like you're pushing that timeline into the future. Just like a fucking fighter jet flying with the sound barrier. Like, where is your death period? Is it in front of you where you're building up pressure as you're still getting older? Or is it that shockwave behind you where it happened when you were 37 and there it is right there, right?
Why quit acting?
It was important for my recovery at the time. It represented my mom living vicariously through me. It represented something that my mom wanted that I didn't want. So it was important for me to step away in a very definitive way and really just focus completely on healing myself.
Yes.
But I am ultimately proud of my decision there, wherever it came from. Even if it was informed by self-righteousness, I think that I did something that was really hard to do. Oh my God, it makes me emotional. I'm proud of myself.
Why? Why proud of yourself?
I think I've chosen a path of integrity. And it hasn't always been easy.